Hey guys, this is Dissb. This is footage of my Prestige 8 Warlock Mage with the new changes to Valor and Vengeance. I didn't really notice a difference in my stats other than losing some spell power. I really like the changes as it evens out the disparity between the higher ranked players and the lower prestige players. I've sped up some of the non-action footage to 150% just so I can make this video a lot shorter. This is the normal version of Whitefall, which happens to be the Warfront daily today. And I normally like to engage in the battle, and it sort of just lets me know who's really here to PvP. Just looking at my damage here, I mean, it looks fine, and it's really hard to tell whether they have, you know, runes or consumables that are boosting their Valor up. I'm going to speed this up as I head back to our base. I'm going to head towards our spawn so I can come in behind him and hit him on the side opposed to right in front. I'm going to pan my camera real quick just to make sure no one's going to come up behind me. So the worst thing is to be sandwiched. That's why positioning is always key. You always want to put yourself in a position where you're not being attacked on multiple fronts. Instead, you really want to put them in an uncomfortable position where they don't really know, you know, to deal with the front or deal with the back. So as I engage into this group of enemies, really want to lay down and get radiate death. I anticipated that the caster would move up into the middle of the pack. And that's really key to, you know, being really successful in Warfronts, is the ability to anticipate what's going to happen. You know, it's just all the little things. I mean, just look here where my positioning is. I'm kiting them back. I know I do not have to worry about anyone behind me. I can see everything I want to see. Oops. How'd that guy get back there? I really like the way my UI is set up. I know a lot of people don't like it, but it really tells me a lot of vital information without really having to move my eyes too much and sort of just use peripheral vision. It tells me my buff bar. It lets me see their buff bar, the enemy, because if you just watch the enemy, you'll see I'm always putting dots, and there's pretty much 4 dots that I have, and once I have those 4 dots, I can begin my rotation, my finishing rotation. So if I had to give a breakdown, I would say the enemy target buff bar is what I look at 75% of the time. I also take a quick look at my hotbar to make sure when my finishers are available, which is Dark Fury and Draining Bolt. And when I'm engaged in battle, I want to look at my buff bar to see if I have any debuffs on me. So it's almost in this upside down triangular formation with your scrolling combat text right in the middle, so you can see when your opportunity procs, because that is really key to adding burst damage to the Warlock, something they really lack. Once again, as I entered into the defined space, the first thing I did was make a right turn, and I want to be on the eastern part of the map, sort of away from where they spawn, so I don't have to worry about people coming up in my rear. You'll notice I pan my camera here, just one last check, and I'm going to finish him off with Devouring Shadows, because all my other finishers are on cooldown. That's something that I've been doing over the last couple of months, is really adding Devouring Shadows into my finishing rotation. The important part about Devouring Shadows is the placement. Assuming you're going to need the second tick of Devouring Shadows, you really want to place it and allow yourself some leeway as to which way you think the enemy is going to run. As I see these enemies running in my direction, I just want to be a little cautious. I am solo pugging, so I don't really know if I'm getting good heals. I'm gonna extend this guy out. Get Rift Cage. I could break my Rift Cage, but I'm not because I know I'm gonna head inside their base, and I really want to have that ability available to me. So as I head into their base, I want to take a quick look at my cooldowns. Try to kill the caster here first. I also want to kill this guy because I know I'm going to go inside the base. It's always nice to have a bloodthirsty proc. Unfortunately, this guy is getting longer than I thought. We must. When you enter their base, you always want to have a backup plan. You know, when the shit hits the fan, which way am I going to run? I like to be right by this wall here because you can go along the eastern edge of it, break LOS, you can even go up it and flank around them. But before you ever engage, you always have to have an exit strategy. Once again, I'm going to head over to the right hand side. Now as I look into this cluster, the first thing I'm thinking again is Radiate Death, but I'm sort of distracted because I want to kill that rogue. And as I look on my mini-map, there's only 1 or 2 guys left on Guardians, so I'm going to pick up and split. Try to gather with my group again. There's no sense in just going in there and dying. And our Warfront group is actually pretty smart enough to say in the chat log, let's regroup. You'll notice I tend to pull my map up a lot. It's a habit I picked up from playing Battlefield 2. Just constantly knowing where your guys are. So I get popped by a rogue there, and the first thing I do is hit Mass Sphere to create some distance. Head back to the rest of my team. Load up the dots. Did you hear that sound? This sounded like rolling dice. For the longest time I could not figure out what that sound was. And finally a guildmate told me, that's your pet dying. There's a lot of things I do not know in this game. You guys would be surprised. Speed it up, 150%. Slip away. I wonder if you guys hate it as much as I do. Oh, here's the runner. Looks like I'm just gonna dot him up and he should die. No problem. No problem. It's wow, I can't believe that. I switched targets because I couldn't really do anything to that rogue. All my cooldowns were gone, he was already fully dotted up, so I switched to this mage here. Gotta kill someone at least. Great, we're losing. Hey, free kill. Yeah, I'm a little worried here because I don't like being on this side of their base because I have to worry about the enemy coming from the other side. So I'm gonna, get a couple of AoE in and pan my camera, make sure no one's coming. A little low in health here, and it's quite a few Defiant. Pop my Shadow Life and try to get a kill here within the 20 seconds. Because if you notice, when I get a kill, my normal Bloodthirsty procs for like 500 and change, it is now proccing for 746. Here's an excellent example of a normal rotation. Lead off with Defile, put my 4 dots, my Draining Bolt is on cooldown. Instead, I use Dark Fury and Devouring Shadows to finish him off. So you can definitely vary your spell rotation depending on what's available to you. But basically, you're going to want to have, you know, your 4 dots applied to him and your finishing spells. Make sure you get that Dark Fury, because you'll have 2.5 seconds of your dots ticking for free. 4 dots. Finish with Draining Bolt. You'll notice sometimes, I mean, I like to stress how important it is to keep your distance. That holds true when you're unsure of the outcome of the battle. But I also like to push, and really push and put pressure on the enemy. You know, aside from all your gear and your spell rotation, what really makes a difference in Warfronts is being able to change what's going to happen, you know, by luring and extending, by attacking on multiple fronts, by, you know, just really putting them in an uncomfortable position where they're not really sure how to act. And that's where people tend to panic, you know, fumble on their keyboard. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do it all the time, but you play long enough, you learn from your mistakes, and that's what eventually makes us a better player. Remember, my goal is not to teach you how to DPS someone down. It's really about positioning and putting yourself in a situation that's favorable to you and not putting yourself in an unfavorable position. I mean, here, just standing up here in between on the top of the steps, I'm breaking LOS from those guys to my left that are sitting up there, and I'm still AoEing and trying to kill these guys that are by the Source Stone. I mean, it's just the little things again that really add up to making you become a player, and I hope through my narrative videos I'm able to do that for you. Well, looks like this Warfront's about to end. Once again, this is Dissb, footage of my Prestige 8 Warlock Mage in the first Warfront with the new changes implemented to Valor and Vengeance.